Thank you. I have a confession to make. I'm a finance guy. I worked in banking for about 8-9 years, including the years about 2007, 8 in Europe. But it doesn't stop there. I worked in the business of selling mortgages, packaging them, selling them off to investors, municipalities, and investors that didn't necessarily understand the risk of that. The finance industry is a tricky industry. There's not much transparency. And it is an industry where I at some point thought, well, I got to move on. I like finance, but I want to do something where I can work more in entrepreneurial capacity. So in 2010, I resigned from the bank. It coincided with moving to Canada with me and my family. And I started working with small companies, helping them to raise capital. And that was the time that I experienced how challenging it is for companies to raise capital. The other thing is that I experienced that the public, all of us here, are essentially locked out from investing in these companies. So I found my mission, demystifying finance. So I'm inviting you today to join me on an expedition to explore whether we can make investing in startup companies simple and transparent, whether we can change the way that companies raise capital, and whether all of us can be part of that. Imagine you're a bartender. You're serving your customers drinks. One of yours, your favorite craft beer. You recommend it to your customers. You tell them you like the beer and they enjoy it. What if you could not only enjoy that craft beer, but what if you could also invest in that craft brewery? What if you can help that company grow by investing in it? And what if you as a bartender could invite all your customers, your friends, your network, all of us, to invest in a local craft brewery? So I'd like you to hold that thought. So let's do a show of hands. Who here watched Dragon's Den or US Shark Tank? Okay, so it's quite a few of you. You have these dragons sitting in their comfortable leather chairs. They got a stack of money on their side tables. And they have these entrepreneurs pitch their companies to them in the hope of getting an investment from these dragons in exchange for a piece of their company. So they're giving away a piece of ownership in the company. Now, it's certainly entertaining, but it's actually a reflection of reality. Only a small group, those dragons, have actually access to investing in small companies. Often they are referred to as angel investors, investors that come really early, help companies with the additional capital that they need. So how is it that the viewers of Dragon's Den, why can't they invest in these companies? Why can't all of us here, why can't we invest in these companies? The public. There's a company in 2012, it's called Oculus Rift, and they developed the virtual reality headset. And they went on a crowdfunding platform called Kickstarter. And they raised $2.4 million from 10,000 backers. So these 10,000 backers invested around $300, and they would get a prototype headset and they get a nice poster to hang up at home. Now, what happened with Oculus Rift 2 years later is that it was sold to Facebook for $2 billion. Now, if you, as one of the backers at that time, would have invested in Oculus Rift this $300, you would have earned a return of $43,500, 145 times your investment. Now, this is, of course, an exceptional example because, as we all know, there's a lot of startups that don't make it, that don't succeed. But what it tells us is if we all have the opportunity to support companies by actually investing in them and sharing in their success, that's a totally new ballgame. That is what investment crowdfunding is about. Investment crowdfunding means that all of us have the opportunity to invest in small companies for as little as a few $100s, and you become a co-owner in a company. So this is really taking investing in startups in an entirely new dimension. So let me explain to you how it works. You go online, you look for your favorite company, or you scroll or browse companies that you may be interested to invest in, and you pledge your investment amount, you complete your investment documentation, you pay, everything is done online. And congratulations, you're now a shareholder. It's that simple. So, investment crowdfunding goes beyond connecting small companies with the wider investor community. Investment crowdfunding is truly a paradigm shift. Because now all of us are enabled to invest in companies that we believe in, that we like to see succeed. Think of investing in startup companies as an expression of who you are, your norms and values, and now you can invest in the companies that you like to see succeed. Let me give you an example. There was a company last year in Canada, startup company, and they decided they want to establish a new bank, 100% responsible bank. So this bank would extend loans to companies that have a socially responsible purpose. Who doesn't like that? It's a bank that takes on the established banks, and now everyone can be part of that. So they had a huge following, about 40,000 backers, followers. So what this startup company says, well, why don't we go after all those followers and invite them to invest in our company, in our new bank? And that's what happened. They launched a campaign online, opened it up for everyone to invest for as little as literally $100, and you become a co-owner in that bank. So, revolution starts with citizen movement. Investment crowdfunding is the embodiment of revolutionizing investing in startup companies that change the world. Now, I'd like to take you one level higher in our expedition. This is about the creation of wealth. Remember what I said in the beginning? Early stage companies, it's only a small group of investors that have access to investing in those companies. Angel investors, investment firms. And then those companies start growing. If they become successful, then they go public. And then finally, the public can invest. When already a lot of the money is made, multiple times the value increase of the company. Think, for example, of Facebook and Twitter. Facebook and Twitter are where they are today and became as big because of us, because of all of us using it as customers. So with investment crowdfunding, you can actually invest in those companies from the very beginning. And that is really revolutionizing investing in small companies. Now, I'd like to leave you with a story. It's actually a true story. This was last year, February. I was on my way home after a long day work. I missed my connection. So I went to the bar, and I had a drink, and I saw this coaster on the bar. And the coaster had the name on it from the craft brewery that we launched 3 weeks before on my investment crowdfunding platform. So I asked the bartender, his name was Jimmy, I said, what can you tell me about this craft beer? And he said, I love it. I enjoy it. I recommend it to my customers to try it out. And then he continued telling me, he said, you know what is really cool? This craft brewery is growing and they're raising capital. They're raising money. And they open it up for everyone. He told me, he said, you go online on this platform and you make your investment from start to finish, and it's all happens online. So I pulled out my business card, I gave it to him, and we had a laugh. Now that moment was an absolute testimonial for me of what investment crowdfunding is about. It's about empowering all of us to invest in companies that we believe in. All of us are empowered to support companies that will change the world. All of us can, through investment crowdfunding, drive entrepreneurship, innovation, job creation. That is the power of investment crowdfunding, and it's available to all of us. We're on the brink of monumental change in investing, and I'm inviting all of you to be the change makers. Thank you.